guys, my name is Sina and I wanted to make a quick little video on the truck I have behind me. It's currently been my daily. I camp with it every weekend and I actually lived out of it for 2 years with my 80-pound golden retriever. I bought this truck bone stock, garage kept and dealer maintained. I believe it had like 2 owners before me. One was like a real estate agent and the other was just a family, a soccer mom. There are many reasons why I went with this truck. First of all, as a child, I always thought these were the coolest trucks ever. It's a Land Cruiser. I always loved the design of them. They always looked really cool on the streets. And also, it's a legendary 4.7 engine by Toyota, also known as the Million Mile engine. It currently has 326,000 miles, and it has been the most reliable truck I have ever had. The most comfortable car on the highways, and super capable. I've taken it to crazy places. We are currently in Moab, Utah, where I moved here about 4 months ago, and I have taken this thing on crazy trails. It has been extremely reliable, super comfortable. It fits everything and more that I would ever need with my 2 dogs in the back. Getting this truck dialed into exactly what I needed and wanted, it took hundreds and hundreds of hours of research, YouTube, forums, Facebook pages. Shout out to UZJ100, specifically John Haley and John Moore. John Haley and John Moore, they've been incredible. I've hit them up at 3 in the morning on weekdays and they get back to me within minutes with exactly what I need to do. One time I was stranded on the highway, middle of the desert in Northern California, and my serpentine belt snapped and I didn't know what to do. It was completely stuck. I mean, when they break, it shreds. I was really lucky and fortunate to be able to drive like another 6 miles to like this random In-N-Out. This little section, this city had an In-N-Out right on the highway and a Napa. I was so lucky that day. Using this as one of the many examples of like one of the maintenance questions I have, or should I go with 33.5s or should I go with 35? Or like what is the best differential fluid? They've been incredible. They've saved me tens of thousands of dollars. So thank you, John. Both Johns. The main reason why I want to make this video is just to give out some information and ideas to whoever's going to watch this. When I first bought my truck, I spent hundreds and hundreds of hours on YouTube, on forums, on Facebook groups, just trying to get an idea of what setup is best for me, what has worked for other people, and the cost, how to do it. You can spend so many hours and hours and hours looking at other people's setups. In this video, I'm going to try to just give you a quick rundown and also the setup and platform that I have. Maybe you guys can get some ideas from this. If you have any questions, please ask them down below. I'll get to all of them. And maybe you guys can give me some better ideas on the setup I have, maybe helping me move things or tweak the design. When you get a truck to go overlanding or camping or traveling or living out of or shipping it to Europe or whatever you're gonna do, there are so many different setups, products, designs. You can spend hundreds and hundreds of hours of research on like YouTube forums, Facebook groups, and you still will learn what's good for you on the long run. And you'll think you'll have the best setup, but once you actually get on the road and start living out of it or do whatever you plan on doing, then you'll actually learn what works for you, what do you got to change, what do you have to not take with you, it's just so you're not overpacked. And so in this video, I hope to give you guys some ideas on what you guys can do with an SUV, a truck, whatever you have. Because what I have in my truck and what I've done, you can do in any car. I've personally helped many, many friends with their build outs. And I've actually, for fun, I used to, when I lived in Bellingham, I converted a few vans and trucks just for fun. I learned a lot throughout the whole process, and I hope you guys get something out of this. If you all have any questions, please ask them down below. I'll try to get to them. So this is my 2006 Lexus LX 470, also known as the Toyota Land Cruiser, more specifically the 100 series Land Cruiser. This has the legendary 4.7 liter V8 engine by Toyota that has currently 326,000 miles. It's barely broken in, and I'm shooting for easily 500,000, 750,000 miles before I have to do serious service or maintenance, or possibly a LS swap. This truck's been my daily for over 4 years and has been the most reliable and most comfortable truck I've ever driven. I used to work at a Porsche dealership, and this thing drives better on the highway and roads than like brand new Q7s and Q8s and Cayennes. I also off-road it very often living in Moab, Utah, go camping every weekend, and used to live out of it for 2 years. Starting from the outside of the truck, one of the first things I did when I bought this truck was I bought this Ironman 4x4 front bumper. To me, safety is always like the most important thing. And the first thing I wanted to get for this truck was the Ironman 4x4 front bumper. This thing is made out of steel, pretty beefy, very protective of the front. I mainly got it for the protection, just in case I'm driving on the highway and there's a deer in my way, or if I get in a car accident, or really just anything. Especially because this thing is high mileage. It's right now 326,000. I'm really trying to get it to like 500,000, and I believe that'll happen pretty easily. I did not want anything to happen to the engine. If I ever get in an accident, my insurance will pay out the Toyota Camry or the Sprinter van or whatever's in front of me. But replacing these trucks is really difficult. And what happens most of the time is insurance just pays it out and you're out of a truck. They're not gonna fix it. And this truck has a lot of sentimental value to me. I always wanted one growing up, and I now own one, and I'm hoping to keep it for as long as possible. It came with these fog lights from Ironman. I also ordered a 12,000 pound winch that you can see on the inside. I've had to use that a few times. I'm very happy I have it. The next thing I got for my truck were these 34-inch KO2s, more exactly 275/70 R18. I think they're like 33.9 inches or something, but I'm gonna claim 34. Tires are the most important thing you can ever get for a car or truck. I got the BF Goodrich KO2s just because they've been extremely reliable for tens of thousands of people, and they have such a good reputation. There's a reason why they're the #1 selling all-terrain tires. These are the 10-ply E-rated version. They're a little thicker and they make for a harsher ride, but with my setup and the truck I have, they've been extremely smooth on the highway. And I've heavily abused them on trails and going off-roading, and they've never given me any issues at all. I'm really happy with them, and my next tire will be the KO3s, purely just because they use what I believe is more silicone, which makes it a little better on wet roads and a little smoother ride. Another really important thing you'll need if you ever go off-roading or hit some high-rated trails is rock sliders. These rock slides are made by Slee. They are the highest quality rock slides you can buy for this truck and many others. It's a really good company. They have the best welders and designs on the market. I have beaten them repeatedly on trails like Trifecta and Moab, and they've been extremely reliable and have caused no damage to my truck. They have a few scratches here and there, but that's completely normal. That happens. I could easily spray paint it, but I don't mind it. I'm not going to spend too much time on the suspension. This has IFS, independent front suspension, and I regrettably removed the AHC. It's automatic height control. It's a hydraulic suspension, which I can talk about in another video, but this currently has one of the best suspensions you can buy for these trucks. It's by Ironman 4x4. It's their Foam Cell Pro Stage 3 lift kit. This suspension setup I have has been extremely comfortable and reliable on highway speeds, dirt trails, off-roading, and rock climbing. I'm really happy with it. With these trucks, because of the IFS, independent front suspension, you do not want to go too high, and you really can't, but you don't want to go more than like 2.5 inches from factory, purely because it ruins the geometry of the suspension that the really good engineers in Japan made. So we have the Stage 3 Ironman lift kit, diff drop, I have nitro gear, upper control arms, extended bump stops by Perry Parts, a Panhard drop bracket to level it out, and I believe that's it. This is just a cheap, typical Snorkel off eBay. You do not need to buy the name brand Snorkel, like this plastic piece. They all do the same thing. The most important part is you install it correctly. You can buy a cheap Snorkel or like a branded Snorkel, doesn't matter, whatever's in your budget. I have here the brand is called Snorkel Upgrade, versus the typical snorkels that are fully open and allow water to come in and dust. This has a pre-filter. It has a filter right here and a little thing that spins that shoots out any dust or sticks. If you can afford it, I recommend it, or you can just buy a typical cheap eBay snorkel and use the head that it comes with, but face it backwards, so while you're driving on the highway, no water goes in. And out of all mods I've done with the truck, I think the Snorkel has been the most embarrassing. Can't even tell you how many people have approached me in parking lots asking me, what's the deepest river you've driven through, this, that, and it's like, I actually bought it purely for my air filter for the engine. When you're driving on dirt trails, a lot of dust gets into the filter, and I was having an issue where like every time I went camping, I'd have to check the air filter, clean it out, and just hope it doesn't cause any issues to the engine. Now with the Snorkel and the air intake filter, I never have to worry about that. But just so everybody knows, if you ever do water crossing, you're not only going to need a snorkel that's properly installed with silicone right around here on the inside. You not only need that, but you need extended diff breathers and your transfer case. So when you do water crossings, your differentials in the front and back are very hot, and when you hit the water, don't quote me on this, but I believe this is how it works, but this is important because a lot of people slap on these snorkels and do water crossings and completely kill their car. So when you're driving your truck, your diffs in the front and rear are extremely hot. When you hit the water, it cools down and it retracts. I believe that's the right word. And doing so, if there's not proper airflow, like having the diff breather from factory where it's just right above the differential, right now I have it tubed to go to the front and top of the engine bay, so they're about 4 feet high. Without that, once you hit the water, the differential, all the fluid retracts, sucks in all the water, the seals break, and you'll get broken seals, leaking fluid, and water in your differential, which will completely kill them. And then worst case scenario, not only your diffs are blown, but you just got water in your engine bay because you didn't properly silicone it or install it properly. So please do your research before buying one and doing any water crossings. So from factory, it's a 7-seater, but for what I needed and what I wanted to do with this truck, I removed the second and third row seats. So I removed the second and third row seats that would normally be bolted right here and back there. So with these trucks and the size it is, you have to get pretty creative with the design and layout. Right here, I have marine grade plywood installed as a base for my setup. I have my bed right here, which is more than enough space. Lots of storage down below. Forgive me for the mess. I currently do not live out of it. I have an apartment here in Moab, so I've not needed to like stay organized or keep all the stuff that I need. This offers a decent amount of space. I don't know the height, maybe 12 inches. The amount of storage down there has been extremely helpful. When I'm actually organized, you can fit a lot of things down there like clothes, emergency first aid, dog food, a vacuum, a bag for my electronic stuff. I believe that blue one is going to be for the first aid for the dogs and their probiotics and things like that. But overall, it's been a great storage spot, easily accessible while I'm inside. I don't have to climb out, move things, grab my bag. It's all in reach. In this being the second row, I want to have a flat platform. It created this little storage spot, which right now I have random things in there, but like raincoat, a random rock I found. But down here is where I really don't mess with it. I usually leave this as is when I go camping and like living on the road. Like a Patagonia jacket, another, I think Arc'teryx or something, just a jacket. And then I have like my jump starter down there. A few other random things. I hide some valuables down there, which I'll not show. One of my favorite cheap mods I've ever done with this truck is this Reflectix that you can buy from like Home Depot or Lowe's. It has been amazing at keeping my car cooler for my dog's privacy, especially if you're in a sketchy city like LA or Seattle. You don't want people knowing what's inside. I usually always leave my Reflectix on the back 2 windows and the rear hatch, purely just for privacy. I have a lot of expensive gear in here and I don't want others to know about it, but it does a really good job with my privacy curtains I have right here. The Reflectix on all the windows, the front windshield, sun guard, whatever you call that, and this little $30 DIY curtain I made. It does a really good job at blocking out all the sun, giving you privacy. I can change in here, I can cook in here. I've stealth camped a few times. A lot of times you have to. I've stealth camped in Seattle, San Diego, LA, big cities, and I've never had anybody knocking on my window from the outside. This doesn't look like somebody's inside. It just looks like an off-road truck. No one expects for this setup to be in here. But yeah, with everything set up, I've had my laptop out, watching movies, editing, working, and from the outside, you cannot see any light. You can't see that anyone's in there. Just in the chances of like needing to stealth camp, I personally cannot climb through the front row. I got a messed up back and I'm a little too heavy to climb on that. I wanted a way to easily just climb in the back. I don't want them to get an idea that I'm camping or sleeping in my truck. A lot of people, they climb from the front or worse, like go from the back. It's pretty obvious that you climb in, turn around, close the tailgate, close the hatch. They know what you're doing. When I stealth camp, I just find a good parking spot, put my blinds up, open the door, and just climb in. But for the most part, I'm out in the middle of nowhere. And this space is used for storage space. I can put my laptop here, I can sit down and work. I can have my laptop up here, sit this way and get things done. And also sometimes I let my dog jump this way just so he has a easier access to the bed. This is a Growatt Infinity 1300. I believe it's like 1350 watt hours. It is a few years old, so it's probably not even at its peak performance. It's probably like closer to 90%, maybe high 80s, but it's been very good, very reliable. I have it strapped down to these little anchor points that I bolted through. It currently has 300 watts of solar. It's 3 100-watt solar panels, and during peak time, during the day, I get more than enough charge. If I'm ever on the road and I need to charge, I'll just carry this into Starbucks. It's pretty easy to carry. I just take the bungee off, unplug this, unplug whatever else I have on here, and just carry it in. It's like 30, 40 pounds, not too heavy. but the handles really make it easy, and it charges like to 100% in just a few hours. So to finish the second row tour, I'll show you what I have on this side. Under here is the other side of the pass-through for storage. I have my stove. I have one of the 2 Dometic water containers right here, and I can just access the other side of the storage I have under my bed. Just have blankets, random stuff, first aid, awning strap downs that I never use, and I'll tell you why later. Dog stuff, harnesses, life jackets, things like that. But yeah, it offers a lot of storage and I'm really happy about it. It makes it really easy to access anything I need from this side or that side. And this is the part of my truck that is used the most. And one of my favorite features of this truck, which the new Land Cruisers don't have, is this tailgate. The newer ones and different models, they have a barn door and you completely lose the tailgate. I use this tailgate for a lot of different things. One of my favorites is cooking on here just because of the rain protection. You get nice shade. I use this as a seat all the time. I have 3 or 4 camping chairs back here and I never pull them out. This has just always been the easiest and quickest setup. You just park anywhere with a good view, you open the tailgate and you're set up. But somebody uses this a lot more than I do. Duncan, up. His name is Duncan and he uses this tailgate probably 20 times a day, easily. I got a bad back, so just having him elevated helps me out a lot. I'll feed him on here, I'll brush him, check for hot spots and make sure he's healthy and okay. And more importantly, come here. It gives me a spot to easily like clean his paws, brush all the sand off before he gets inside. Good boy. She's getting a little jealous, so I'll introduce you guys to her. Her name is Maple. Found her in the middle of the desert in like Sanasti, New Mexico. She was extremely shy, skittish. She was protecting like 2 puppies in the middle of nowhere that weren't hers. She was protecting them, feeding them, and making sure they're okay. But we found all 3 of them. We found homes for the other 2 and had to keep her. Her and Duncan are just best friends. So the first thing you'll notice is this is not factory, this tailgate right here. It's by a company, I believe in Australia, called Hurcan. They make tailgates for 80 series Land Cruisers, 100 series Land Cruisers, and I believe 200 series. The main reason why I did this tailgate mod was the factory carpet was just not holding up. Like I said, I always have my dog jump up here. I needed something that's durable and offers the grip so he doesn't slip and fall. Because a lot of the times, especially living in Washington State, his paws are always wet, which caused the factory carpet to just get really, really dirty. Don't get me wrong, this is dirty and it's very well used, but it still offers a lot of grip and the added bonus of the storage. It's currently missing a few bolts. It came with them. I'm just redoing the wiring on the tailgate right now, so for how little it is, it's pretty surprising what you can fit in here. I currently have a mess of just random tools, straps, extra serpentine belt, these motion sensor lights. I got a saw, I got bear spray, extra foil. I have been ripping apart the insulation that it came with to fix some wiring. It's a good mod if you have a Land Cruiser. It offers a lot of extra space. I've seen people put their recovery gear in these, their guns, their whatever you want to put in there, and you can easily secure it by locking it. One of the downsides with installing this is you got to remove the factory assist that helps you lift and put the tailgate down. I try not to have other people open this tailgate or give them a heads up, but it's decently heavy, and if you don't guide it down, it will just slam. So that's just one thing to think about. So as you can see in the back, I have my bed platform, aka Duncan and Maple's bed. They love it. It's a Hess mattress. It's super comfortable and I love it. It's 78 inches long, something inches wide. It offers more than enough space for myself. Although that he has a dog bed and he should be sleeping on that side, most nights he is sleeping right on me or on my legs. I have my head that way most of the time. And it's been comfortable and surprisingly fits us. One of the easiest mods anybody can do with most trucks and SUVs is adding a drawer system. It adds really valuable storage that you can easily access just by sliding the drawer open. Helps you stay more organized and secures everything while you're driving. So this is my kitchen drawer. It's super messy right now. All the essentials. You got the spices, the honey, extra sponge. You can never have too many extra sponges. You got the REI special spice thing. I use this mainly for meat. All my utensils, fits everything. So these drawers are wooden drawers on a material under there that it slides on. It's like a cutting board material, so there's no drawer slider hardware. So it's just wood on that cutting board material. And the reason why I went with that, so before making these drawers, I had Ironman drawers and I also had ARB drawers, and I was running into a lot of issues. These drawers, the dimensions, the outer dimensions are the exact same as like an ARB, the height, the width, the length. But because there's no slider hardware, you're able to take the wood out further on all sides, offering, I think the math is like 24% more storage space, which is huge. You can fit so much more compared to ARBs or whatever on the market, Kings for Australians. But it not only offers much more space for whatever you want to put in here, but my favorite part is it offers less room for failure. I was running into a lot of issues with my Ironman and ARB. Those bearings they use for the slides, when you load these up and hit some trails, those bearings get loose or break. And to get to those, on those specifically, you got to fully remove it from your truck, bolt it back on, hope it didn't break, and hopefully it just got loose. But after hitting trails and like having to do that for about an hour and a half to 2 hours at a time while my friends are camping, playing with their dogs, it got old pretty fast. But that is something to think about and take into account when you're shopping, because they are thousands and thousands of dollars. Another great feature is the way I set this up is this side, this drawer is just a little bit shorter than the left one. And that's because I got a cutting board that comes all the way out. I prep my food here, I cook here. It serves as like an additional flat surface for like drinks or my stove or whatever I want to do. But this cutting board has been very useful. And right now on the left side, I just use this for clothes. I have the REI cubes. So I got the 2 drawers, the cutting board, the Amazon cup holders. I think I paid like $3 for these. Very worth it. I've used them for about 2 years and they've not broken yet. I also have the wings on the side. They fold up. I'm not going to do that right now, but I have all my tools, my spare parts, oils, fluids, everything in here. On the right side, on the right of the drawer, I have my air compressor, camp chairs, and just random stuff that I don't access that often. This fridge drop slide by MSA is very new to me. I found a crazy deal on Craigslist. These things normally sell for like $1,800 to $2,000. And it's made by a very reputable and high quality company, I believe out of South Africa. Before I got this, it was a huge pain to always climb into the tailgate and open the fridge, and it could barely open anyways because of the roof. This is the most accessible way to get into your fridge without bending over or damaging parts on your drawer slide. A fridge or a good cooler is definitely needed if you're going camping a lot or living out of your car. I used to have a Yeti and I just did not like having to always buy ice and it melting and getting in all the food. I've had this Dometic CFX3 45 liter for about 1.5 years and it's been great. Really reliable. I like the build quality. It's definitely not cheap. I use my dividends from REI to get it, but I'm really happy with it, especially on this drop down slide. I've had it for over 3 months and I got to do a few more things like fix the wiring just so they don't get in the way of the drawer, but I'm very happy with it. This is not something that everybody has or is going to get just because it's so expensive. Like I said, I got a deal. This guy in Colorado was selling it, and the Sprinter van that he bought had this in there and he did not like it, and I believe I paid $200. He told me it's like a 14-year-old slide that has no use. It's like failing, this, that. I show up, it's in like perfect condition, has a few scratches, but it was in perfect condition. And I looked up the serial number. Right next to the serial number has the manufacturing date, and it was built in 2020. It is definitely a newer model of MSA fridge slides, and it's been great. If I have any pictures or videos of before this slide to show you my setup, I had my cooler in the same exact spot, just no drawer slide. It was secured by ratchet straps into the hooks, the same anchors I have for the battery up there. And it worked great, even though I paid 200 and I don't know, like 40, $50, something like that. You don't need this. You don't need to spend all the money. Get a cooler, get a Yeti, get whatever you can afford, because you'll need food. You'll need it to stay cool. And if you can afford it, look up this company. It's called MSA. If you follow or know about any tours from Australia, South Africa, whatever, they all use MSA products. There are many other brands that make similar products that are different quality, but you get what you pay for, and so far no complaints at all. It makes it so easy to get inside and out of my fridge, get all my food out, my burgers, my strawberries, my water, my whatever. It just makes it so simple. This size of the drop down slide, I believe it was made for a different fridge. A lot of the South African and Australian fridges, they're narrower and taller, and luckily this barely fits in there, but it offers some extra space for like, not a paid sponsorship. Myers room freshener. This stuff's amazing, but it offers extra space for things I use on a daily basis. Gotta have the knife. I use this like every day. I don't know why. I always need to measure something. I'm always like making something or moving a thing and I need to like find out the measurements. Best $5 you'll ever spend in your life. This little broom and dustpan. I've gotten all my camping friends, overlanding friends, and like van life friends to buy one of these. You'll be surprised how long this lasts and how helpful it is. It's this tiny little thing, but it does the trick. But yeah, I'm really happy I didn't have to buy another cooler to make this work, and it offers extra space just to store random stuff. And to put it away, it's really simple. You just pull this bar, push it back, and it locks in place. And it has two struts on either side. So like my cooler right now is about, I'm totally guessing, like 100 pounds. And moving it up and down is extremely easy. Anybody can do it. A child can just pull this up and down. Just a quick summary of the build. All I did was remove the second and third row, add a wooden platform, the power system that's supplied by solar. Always gotta have a golden retriever wherever you go. Storage space, and then back here you have 2 drawers, wings on either sides for extra space, a cooler or a fridge, whatever you can afford or want, and a bed. The newer additions that I've made, I'll make a whole video on its own just because I believe they deserve it. It's my new to me rooftop tent and 270-degree freestanding awning by Bush Company. Bush Company is a company from South Africa. They make the highest quality overlanding outdoor gear you can ever buy. So the rooftop tent I have is a Bush Company AX27. It's by a company based out of South Africa. These are all made, welded, and designed in South Africa. If you know anything about like touring, traveling, camping, outdoors, South Africa and Australians, or South Africans and Australians, they take it very seriously. And the brands and companies that come out of there are top tier. This rooftop tent, I personally could never afford to buy it brand new, but if you could, I highly, highly recommend it. Or I recommend just looking on Craigslist for deals. The company, Bush Company, is not well known in the United States for now. They're gonna blow up pretty soon. They recently just got a headquarters in Chandler, Arizona, and will continue to grow in the States. But on the other side of the world, for like Europe, South Africa, Africa, Australia, they produce the highest quality rooftop tents. I've personally tried every tent on the market. I've owned James Baroud, I've owned HFAB, I've owned Roof Nest, and not to name any other ones because they're really bad. James Baroud and HFAB are great. Every other brand of tent, you're just wasting money on. I personally do not see a purpose in saving 10, 20%, maybe 30% to buy a rooftop tent when you're gonna have issues within weeks or months, like your canvas getting mold or the seals breaking or whatever it is. The Bush Company X27 rooftop tent has been insanely comfortable, so modular. You have all the attachments on these sides. You have these rails, they have 2 channels and 1 channel up top that go around the full rooftop tent, offering much more options for storage or mounting for lights, awnings, axes, whatever you want. Much more than HFAB, a lot more than James Baroud, and name every other company. Personally, for me, when I invest into something, I'm the person that wants it to last forever or have great resale value. The Bush Company AX27 rooftop tent has both, just like their awning. This awning, the exact name is a 270-degree XT Max awning, and it's for the left-hand side. This awning is incredible. If you ever own an awning that is just like, let's just say the typical 8-foot Napa or ARB or whatever awning, you know the pain it is to unravel that and set it up yourself or even with 2 people. And by the time you get it all out, you spend 5-10 minutes setting it up, maybe scratching your car because of the poles or the wind. But by the time you get it out, you realize you don't have much shade. This thing is 270 degrees of shade, completely freestanding. I'm 220 pounds and I can fully do pull-ups on the awning arms. It's crazy. Would you ever need to do pull-ups on an awning? No, but that just tells you how durable this is and the wind that it can survive through. It's funny, when I drove to Chandler, Arizona, where they have the headquarters for the Bush Company in the US, I went there to go buy the awning, and the guy, really helpful. When I bought it, they gave me this pouch. I zip tied it because I don't think I'll ever have to open it, and if I do, I'll just cut it out. But they gave me this pouch. This is the awning tie downs, strap downs for like securing it. And they're like, We've never had a customer or myself ever use these, but just in case, here you go. And I've personally been in really, really high wind areas, especially like in spots like this where there's a cliff, and I've never needed this. I just keep it in my car just as something to have, but this awning is super high quality. So that's it. That's a full rundown on my truck and everything I've done to it. If y'all have any questions, please ask them down below. I will also have all the items and gear I have on my truck listed with links down in the description. But yeah, guys, thank you. Thanks for watching.